Welcome to Communication Diva, episode 34. This is Jenn Swanson, and the voice is on vacation, so I am doing my own introduction today. This is the podcast that helps to explore and discuss and discover communication and ways in which we communicate in the hopes that something you find here might be of value and might help you to improve your very own communication skills and therefore improve your relationships. We have all sorts of things on the website at www.communicationdiva.com, and you can find the podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Zune, BlackBerry, and all manner of other places. Please feel free to share what you hear through Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all sorts of different social media platforms. I really appreciate those of you who have taken the time to come to the website and leave comments and comment on Facebook and different places. I've had emails from people around the globe. I've got people listening in 66 countries, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you're taking the time to listen here. So I wanted to bring you our featured guest today, but just before we do that, I wanted to let you know a little bit more about what has been going on. It is still summertime here, and I am finished, and I'm now a certified NLP practitioner, which is a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. Fascinating information. NLP has had a bad rap in the past for reasons that there have been people that have done things unethically with it, but there also have been many people who have used the techniques and the information and the philosophy, I guess, of NLP to help numerous people in overcoming inner unresourceful states, in talking about, in ways of helping people improve the way they think and improve the way they discuss their lives with other people, conversations. They're just a whole manner of other things. And I haven't explained it very well. My guest will explain it a little bit better than I have. And I will, in coming episodes, be talking more about NLP and about my new coaching practice that I will be launching shortly for people who are interested in life coaching, conflict coaching, and such. So that's coming. Isn't quite here yet, but I want to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about in the future my husband Scott, who is a spiritual director, which is like coaching, only with a more spiritual aspect to it. And he is also interested in inviting clients to his practice. So we will be speaking about that in future episodes as well. But for now, I would like to introduce you to Valerie Legge. She is a wonderful person that I met during my course that I took here in Vancouver. And she does so many things that I'm going to let her tell you all about the things that she has done. She has 3 websites that will be mentioned and listed on the show notes that you can take a look at if you want to know more about this very dynamic, amazing person. And I just had to have a conversation with her because I was drawn to her energy, her vibrancy, and her wisdom that she had. So without any more talk from me, I will turn you over to the interview with Valerie Legge, coach and entrepreneur. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Communication Diva. This is Jenn Swanson, and here I am again on another lovely patio in Vancouver, carrying on with the course that I've been taking here. And my featured guest today is Valerie Legge, and I'm very pleased that you're here, Valerie, and want to thank you for taking this time.
Thanks so much, Jen. It's great to be able to have this chance to chat with you and to enjoy Vancouver for one last day.
And we've been very lucky because it's been sunny and gorgeous, and makes a difference, I think, to everyone's energy levels. So I just wanted to have a conversation with you for a few minutes about your experience with communication and how it's worked in your life and how you use it in the work that you do, because I think you do many things from the conversations that we've had. And I wonder if you can just walk us through some of those things that you do and any of your thoughts and wisdom on communication.
Thanks, Jen. Communication is such a huge and rich field. I'm really excited to be able to talk a bit about that. I see it really as a tapestry with many, many different threads woven in. And the first way in that I explored in my first career was as a classical violinist. So I was using music as a means of communication. And it became really evident that in performance, while it's important to have the technique, to be able to make the sounds, what's really fundamental to make music communicate is that it has to have an emotional connection. So from that viewpoint, I also became very interested in how we can teach music so that it's communicating something that's profound. Because when we do have this experience of being moved by many of the arts, really, it doesn't have to be just music, we have a sense of profound connection, deep spiritual connection. So after focusing on performance, I got involved in pedagogy and spent a summer in Japan working with Shinichi Suzuki, who did a lot of work teaching young children how, in fact, not only how to play instruments, but his method was applied to learning in general. And his basic premise is that all young children learn to speak their mother tongue and can use that model of learning, transposing it to other areas. So I was looking at how we communicate, and particularly young children, do it in such a seamless, effortless way. It's a question of providing the environment that will foster that. And so that was a very interesting part to weave into this communication dialogue, because it also showed the importance of context when we're working with children, how we're also looking at the family systems. So yes, music remained the main focus in my life for about 25 years professionally. And I guess my innate curiosity led me to want to discover other ways, perhaps a little more internal. And at one point I worked as a research coordinator at the Montreal Neurological Institute. It was a really steep learning curve because I had no science background, one of those typical artists. But the learning was just great. I was coordinating a project about adolescent brain development, a longitudinal project that looked at ways that children's brains are developing with time and how this impacts their ability to communicate and to perceive at the level of emotions, intellect, and really how the congruence is being built. And while that was fascinating, it was pretty clear that that wasn't my area of comfort. So I turned the lens onto looking at how we develop the inner states through the focus on mindfulness meditation. I was involved with the group for quite a few years based on the tradition of a Vietnamese Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, whose contribution was and is really important in bridging communication between the Eastern and Western styles of understanding and relating to the world. So that's been a really fascinating piece for me as to how we can become aware of our inner states and affect them, how we can change what we're focusing our thoughts on and learn, in fact, to let go of things, how we create inner space. And that element of silence as a part of communication is a really interesting, almost seems like a paradox for many of us in the West. If you want, I can just keep on going, but I'm going to give you Another.
You're doing fabulously here. I'm not sure if everyone, when you say inner state, if everyone might know what that means. And so I wonder if you could elaborate on that a little bit as well.
Absolutely. When we talk of inner state right now, I can put it in the context of Jenn and I being at the last day of a course in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. We've been looking a lot at these questions of inner state, how our mind, our thoughts affect our physiology, so that if I'm thinking something which makes me feel anxious, I'll have the knots in my stomach, my shoulders may hunch forward, and my entire physiology is reinforcing these patterns, which may lead me to a state of not being able to act in the way I would like, what we would use the terminology of being unresourceful. So in looking at these inner states, we're also asking the question of, what do I want to feel? What situation do I want to be in? And how can I find the tools within myself, my own resources, to be able to bring that closer? And in fact, how can I become an instrument in making this sing out in my life? So one of the ways that I've found the most effective has been through life coaching, through the coaching process, which I discovered through Erickson College. I didn't even realize that this was something I was seeking, but as part of the questioning, ongoing journey around exploring communication, I stumbled upon an Erickson College training program when I was in Calgary, and I was allowed to sit in on an hour and a half. And I came away from that thinking, this is just phenomenal. There's a connection and an inner communication, which opened up so many new possibilities for me. In fact, how we could harness that, some of those inner states with the kinesthetic, with the hearing, what we're seeing, and this entire concept of having ways that we could very clearly elicit these states was amazing, because in my time working at the Neurological Institute, the scientific background was all about the proof. And when working with musicians, artists, we tended to work at another spectrum, the other end of the spectrum. So I decided I just had to learn more, and signed up for the next intensive course, which took place in Vancouver. That was in 2008. I did my initial training, and I really got into it because of a personal curiosity, and it was just a way of putting certain pieces together. And the more I did, the more I thought, this stuff is just too great to keep only for myself. And in carrying on with training and accreditation, I had the chance to really work with other people and to see how these skills, communication skills, can enable each one of us to access our own resources. So the fundamental piece really being that we all do have the inner resources, we have what it needs. And to communicate that message and to have it really resound within ourselves is a profoundly powerful starting point.
I'm thinking that one of the things you said about having it resound within ourselves, I think that's a big learning for a lot of people, is that it needs to start within before you can go out, I think, and share it. Or it feels that way anyway, because we were hearing today that there are a lot of people who have that negative or non-resourceful communication within themselves, and then limit their own potential unknowingly often. And I find that to be a fascinating area that could be explored a little bit more. So you took the music experience that you had, and then moved through working with children, and then moved into working with other children in a different Eastern culture, and then went to life coaching And where are you at now in the whole spectrum?
Having woven in a few more threads, the life coaching, I have a private practice, and as I was doing that, I realized that as much as I love this, I need something else as well. So the idea of working with a coach partner took place. It was very organic, actually. When we started our coach training, we were assigned seats, and on the very first day, I found my name tag on the table next to somebody named Anna, and so we had our very first coach experience. We were coaching each other, and we look back on it nowadays and laugh at how inept we were. But there was a great sense of excitement in working with somebody else. So Anna, although she's of British origin, lives in Germany, and we maintained our connection. Technology is just wonderful, so we carried on working together, and at the beginning didn't know where it was going to take us. It was really just a series of conversations, and what evolved out of this was a series of workshops. The first one took place 2 years after we did our training. Anna came back and visited in Montreal, and we offered a 2-day course on coaching for self-mastery. It was offered to an inner city group. It was in conjunction with I believe it was the Black Youth Leadership Initiative. And we were working with a group of about 20 young adults who had dropped out of school and who wanted to get their lives back on course. So they had an openness, but they didn't have the skills. So we offered this 2-day workshop from a place of great humility, also realizing that for 2 middle-aged white women coming in, it was not going to be appropriate for us to tell them what to do. And it was a fantastic learning experience both ways, because there was true rapport that was created. And so these young adults were just incredibly honest, and we had great learning. One instance which comes to mind was as we were focusing upon, and what do you want? How can you begin to define goals within the scope of your own control? Because of course that was a huge issue. Many of them had felt empowered from the time really they came into this world. So there was one young man who volunteered, probably the most gentle one of the group, and my partner was doing a demo coaching in front of everyone. And he said he would like to become a better father. So in the coach position, we are non-judgmental. So big gulp, because none of us knew that he had children already. He was perhaps 20. And yes, he said he had 2 children who were raised primarily by his grandmother. And so then, what does it look like to you to be a better father? And his response came slowly, very thoughtfully. He said, well, I guess it would be to not beat my kids as much. And wow. And my very artful colleague was able to carry on with the questioning and to not allow judgment to color the questions, and to lead him to a place where he was able to define incredibly constructive measures that he could implement and commit to in his daily life. So that was our first workshop. And
how do you top that?
I guess we felt we couldn't top it. So at that point, we decided on a totally different group. And the following year, we gave a workshop in Germany to introduce coaching tools to business English language trainers. And it seems like just a huge jump, but in fact, this is the group that Anna is working with primarily. She's working as a trainer, and there seems to be a real interest in expanding communication skills in whatever profession we're in. So they were extremely open to this, and we're going to be offering the same course and adding a second day on next month, again back in Germany in Cologne.
So it sounds like it's transformational work on many levels, and you're also doing something else, I understand, that also involves communication, but in a different way.
Absolutely. Can't hide a thing. Yes, the latest initiative that I've had has been to found a juice bar. It's a juice smoothie, healthy food bar, a very small place in Montreal. And part of that was so that I could actually use the coaching skills that I've developed, use them to see what it's like in business implementation. And I just love a challenge. I love learning, it's informed by that value of ongoing learning and knitting the pieces together, creating this rich tapestry. There's also the value of how we integrate our physical, our spiritual, our mental practices together. So this emphasis on health is very, very concrete in that environment. And one of the fascinating things I've noticed is how conducive it has been to having these amazing, what I could call coaching conversations, because people are there with an openness, and it's a venue that welcomes communication.
You probably have very lucky employees, I would think, to have such a wonderful manager. Well, I'm aware of our time, and we're about to head back into our last afternoon of this program that we're taking. But if people want to reach you and find out more about you, Valerie, where can they do that?
I have several websites. You can contact me through my initial coaching website, which is www.composeyourlife.ca. You can also reach me through the website that I have. It's a blog, actually, with my partner, and it's called www.the-coach-approach.com. And finally, if you're interested, if you're coming to Montreal and want to get a really healthy smoothie, you're welcome to check online at www.o-jus, that's spelled jus.com.
Wonderful, and I really, again, appreciate the time that you've taken to share some of your life experiences around communication, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you over this past intensive few weeks that we've had here.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you too and sharing around these incredible, enriching conversations.
So there was my interview with Valerie Legge, and this is Jenn Swanson with Communication Diva, www.communicationdiva.com. I thank you very much for listening. This episode is coming out a little bit earlier because I'm getting on an airplane once again and heading off to meet my husband in Chicago and to have a belated honeymoon. So we're having a few days with just the two of us to enjoy the Windy City and explore it a little bit. And I will be looking forward to getting back to the podcasting studio and bringing you future episodes of all sorts of areas of communication that might be of interest to you. So until then, have a wonderful rest of your week, and God bless.